Hey guys, and welcome to There's a New Tank Available Somehow, so here's a new video. If you think that my tank is moving very fast in the beginning, that is because I set it to double the speed because not a lot is happening at the beginning. And basically this tank takes forever to get anywhere. And like if it were to actually move like this, I wouldn't mind it that much, but it's not, and it's slow and it's sluggish and it's very meh. I like the gun. I like the big derp shots that I can do because it's got quite a bit of firepower, even if the reload is a bit long. But it doesn't really have that much going for it. So it is called the WZ-114. I should have started with that probably. Anyway, it is a Chinese tier 9 heavy tank, and it's So basically, I've been comparing it to the WZ-111 Model 14, which is the grindable Tier 9 Chinese heavy tank, and that is almost better in every way. Like, there's a few parts where this tank is supposedly better, but oh my god, this tank yeah. Anyhow, let's go over the stats a little bit, shall we? It's got a DPM of 1897, which is part of the problem because the tech tree version has 2056 DPM. It's got a pen of 254, where the normal one has 246, an alpha of 470 versus 460. It's got a rate of fire of 4.04 seconds, which is 4.47 for the tech tree version. The 114 has a reload of 14.86 seconds, where it is 13.42 for the normal one. They both have a caliber of 130. The shell velocity is 810 versus 930. The aim time is where it actually is better than the tech tree version. It's got an 1.92 reload aim time, and the tech tree version has a 2.78 aim time. The dispersion is 0.326 versus 0.364, and the gun depression is 9 degrees, where it is 5 degrees for the Chinese tech tree version. So that part is where it is like better. The gun elevation, however, is 18 degrees, where it is 23 for the tech tree version. And of course, they both have an aiming arc of 180 degrees. It goes 32 kilometers per hour forwards, 14 backwards, whereas the tech tree version goes 45 forwards and 15 backwards. It's got an engine power of 470, where it is 600 for the tech tree version, and the power to weight ratio is 10.76, where it is 13.43 for the tech tree version. Now, it's got a camo rating of 12% and while standing still, 6% while moving. That's the same for the tech tree version. And after shooting, that drops to respectively 3 and 1%, where it is 2 and 1% for the tech tree version. It's got a view range of 250, same as the tech tree version, and an HP of 2200, which is 100 more than the tech tree version. Now, the armor is basically where this tank is better, because it's got an turret armor of 280 in the front, 124 on the sides, and 60 in the rear, where the tech tree version has 230 in the front and 120 in the sides and 60 in the rear. And the hull armor is 170 in the front, 76 on the side, and 54 in the rear, where the tech tree version has 125 on both front and sides and 62 in the back. So that part is a bit of a mix. Some parts are better, some parts are less, worse. But overall, this tank, I've driven it for a few battles, and I don't mind it that much. It's one of those tanks where if you can reload in peace and you can get all your shots in, then it's quite nice, and you can bounce a little bit every now and again. But overall, if I were to pick a T9 tank, there would be a lot of tanks that I would prefer over this one. It doesn't help that my teammate and I are actually getting in each other's way here, of course, and I'm just eating shots left and right, and maybe in a hold down position it wouldn't be as bad and all of that, but overall the tank is very meh. And yeah, well, basically I'm going to guess that it's going to come in crates. And you know what that means? That means that the chances of you not getting the tank are way higher than you actually getting the tank. And I don't know if they're going to include charms in it or not, but definitely even if they do, I don't think that this tank would be worth the price that you would have to spend in order to get all the jumps that you would need for it. Like, if Chinese heavy, not just Chinese heavies, if the normal T9 is your cup of tea, this is basically a slower, bit more armored version of it. And there's a reason that you don't see them in battle much, because generally speaking, they're not the tank to go for. They're not the tank that you're going to play for fun if you're not grinding the line. And there's a reason for that, and it's not because the tank is so enjoyable that you really, really like it. So that's something to definitely keep in mind when this thing hits the store. And I've loaded 3 games in for you now, because the games are over fairly quickly. I've not had a particularly epic game or anything like that, and honestly, that's absolutely fine. For me, if a tank doesn't basically get epic games in an X amount of battles, then it's generally not a really epic tank, or at least not with my playstyle and the way that I play it. That being said, though, I do kind of like the way that it looks. It has potential. It's just kind of like they forgot to buff it or something like that. I can't really put it any other way. I found it very dull. But of the battles that I did have, this was the one I actually enjoyed. And again, the speed in the beginning is set to 2 times, so it's moving a lot faster than it actually is. And it feels very slow. And I know that there's going to be heavies that are slower and heavies that are more armored and do less big booms and all of that. But just all in all, it felt boring. Boring to play, and that's not really the kind of tank that I want to spend lots of money on in order to gamble for it and then maybe get it. I know me, I probably am going to gamble for it to try and get it, but I'm probably not going to spend a lot trying to do so, because I am a collector. I want all the tanks in my garage, but this would be one of those tanks that I would eventually get, and then it would just be sitting in my garage and I would pretty much do nothing with it, because I'm not interested in driving it. Because if I'm going to drive a Tier 9 Heavy, that's going to be the Object 752 or the Phase 1 or the IS-8, or it depends a bit on what I'm in the mood for. It is very unlikely that that is going to be this tank. And that should give people pause. Not necessarily like, this is me, I'm talking from my perspective. But if you know beforehand that a tank is quite meh and it's not really that great, and there's so many better heavies out there in this specific tier that can do a much better job than this tank can, then why would you get it? Because that's kind of my thing. Like I said, as a collector, I am probably going to try a little bit of a gamble, but at the same time I will not want to spend loads here. So I am being a bit YOLO here, mainly because like we've got all the advantage here, and we're definitely going to win it, so I don't care if I take a shot or 2 or 3 or whatever. I do take one, and basically he turns red the closer I get, so I decide to just basically go around him. And overall, like I said, I like the gun. I like the big booms that it does. I don't mind the reload all that much. It's just all of it together, it feels like they forgot to buff it. That, I think, is the best way to describe it, to be honest. But yeah, that is the Chinese Tier 9 WZ-114, a collector for Tier 9. And yeah, you will have to decide whether or not you're going to go for it. But please definitely do not gamble away your life savings, because it is gambling. The chances of you not getting what you want are always way higher than actually getting what you want. This is what it looks like overall. I kind of like the profile of it. I kind of like the way that it looks. It just doesn't play the way that it looks and the way that I would want it to play, basically. So that's my quite negative review. Sorry for being a negative Nancy, but have to be honest here. And that's my little review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you guys next time again. Bye bye!